taking flight, adding value to the metaverse. A conversation with Jourdan Saunders, CEO of the Resource Key. Top left corner, an image of a globe with an airplane flying through it. Bottom right corner, a graphic illustration of a headshot of Jourdan smiling. Let's begin. My name is Jourdan Saunders. I am the CEO of the Resource Key. My pronouns are she, her. My visual description is I am a Black woman wearing a sleeveless black turtleneck dress. I have shoulder-length straight hair. I have a gold headband on, sitting in an orange and white geometric print chair. In the background is a blue and white painting. I'm excited to have this conversation, ensuring that accessibility is embedded in the metaverse. I invite you to ask questions. I look forward to us learning from each other. When I envision the metaverse, I envision a metaverse for all. Technology is rapidly changing, and it has the capacity to continue improving our daily lives, but it is imperative that everyone is included and no one is left behind. When I think about my relationship with Web 1.0, I think about so many things, but one thing and one sound that comes to mind is this.
You got mail.
Does anyone else remember that sound? That sound was AOL dial-up internet connection. And then it said, "You got mail." The sound is so comforting, but it also reminds me how far we've come. AOL dominated the 90s. I still remember putting the CD-ROM in, installing it, going to get breakfast sometimes, waiting for the connection to happen, coming back up. Sometimes, depending on the day, it connected, or sometimes it was still trying to connect. And then hearing, "You've got mail." I don't know your memories that you have surrounding AOL, or any sounds for that matter, related to Web 1.0. I also still remember my username. I forgot to say, this conversation, no judgment. So I'm going to reveal my username, but this is definitely no judgment zone. My username was whasup1237. Does anyone remember their username? I can't be the only one. We have advanced, and we're on the runway, looking ahead towards the metaverse. A metaverse with accessibility embedded so that no one is left behind. We're going to take the question to start it off with, why does accessibility matter? There are more than 1 billion people with disabilities, different disabilities in the world. That is 15% of the world's population. Companies not offering accessibility services are losing 6.9 billion yearly to competitors who do offer accessibility. These are the areas that we envision for the metaverse. Number 1, business. Number 2, healthcare. Number 3, connection. Number 4, entertainment. We are going to use these 4 areas to discuss and dive further. There are many more, but we'll start here. We're going to use airplanes as an example for each of these areas to drive home how important they have become to society, how they have impacted the world, and how the metaverse has the potential to do the same in these 4 areas. Number 1, business. Airplanes open up endless doors surrounding business opportunities. Someone traveling for work for business opportunity, allowing businesses to be international, increasing profits, creating more job opportunities. If we look at the airline industry, present day, the industry has supported more than 87 million jobs around the world. And there's many other ways that we can think of where airplanes have changed and allowed opportunities for the area of business. When we look at the area of health, we can think of how it's opened up doors for medicine to be carried, especially if it's perishable, on an airplane without it going bad. Medevac for car accidents, or when there's emergencies and someone has to be airlifted. Airplanes have saved lives. They also have provided opportunities for families or individuals that may live in rural areas, that may need access to specific hospitals. It's open opportunities through charity airplanes that serve individuals that are in those rural areas to be able to get access to the healthcare that they need. There's many other examples of how airplanes have allowed this endless opportunities in the area of healthcare. When we look at connection, think of all of the times that maybe you've met someone at the airplane that's open opportunity for business, or maybe it's a friend now, or whatever it may be. So airplanes have provided connections. It's also allowed connections globally. We have the opportunity to be able to take a flight and access another area in the world, access and have a different perspective, cultural differences, where that wasn't an opportunity before. Entertainment. You can get on an airplane to travel to a concert that you've always wanted to go to, an event. There's many other ways, family vacations or trips. It's opened endless doors for entertainment as well. So when we look at the areas and how airplanes have allowed access to endless opportunities in different areas, I also see that and envision that in the metaverse. These areas that allow these experiences for connection, business, entertainment, and the list goes on. And accessibility is embedded in every single area of that. We don't want to leave anyone behind or out of that. People with disabilities are human beings, and they deserve the right to be able to have access to all of these different areas. By now, you may be asking the question, Jourdan, how can we get there? How can we ensure accessibility is embedded? I'm going to provide you the 4 principles of accessibility. And then I'm going to share with you some first-person stories of how accessibility impacts not one area of someone's life, but many areas of someone's life when something is inaccessible. And these are stories that have been shared with me over the years by different people with different disabilities. The 4 accessibility principles are from Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. Number 1, perceivable. Information and user interface components must be presented in a way that all users can recognize and understand. For example, if you have video content, adding text transcripts and captions and audio descriptions for video content to make it accessible. Number 2, operable. User interface components should be operable, meaning if someone is using a keyboard to access content on a website, they should still be able to use all of the different functionalities and be able to access all of the content just as if they were using a mouse. So all of the functionality that's available when a person uses a mouse should also be available if they're using a keyboard. Number 3, understandable. All content should be clear and concise so that the person can understand. Plain language is a great example of that. Number 4, robust. Content should be compatible with current and future user tools. It should also be compatible with other technologies, including assistive technology. Now, I'm going to share with you the reality and the impact from first-person stories of how when something is inaccessible or content is inaccessible, how it affects different areas of a person's life. Connection. I am hard of hearing. So many of my classes are video-based, and when no captions or transcripts are not added, it is frustrating. It makes me feel disconnected. It also impacts me not being able to access my education like my other peers who have the opportunity to. Business. I have a motor disability. If I can't access a website by using my keyboard, I am unable to access whole sections of a website. I am unemployed. I want to work, but when I'm not able to access the majority of the parts of the job application, it's hard for me to be able to submit any of my applications. And then it's frustrating because I'm still unemployed. Health. I have a learning disability, and during the pandemic, having virtual doctor visits were very challenging because a lot of the language that was used on the website made it difficult for me to figure out how to access the portal. It was confusing, and I did not understand the steps I needed to take. It would have been very helpful if they used plain language so I could understand the information better. Entertainment. I am blind and I use a screen reader. It was an inconvenience when I was trying to sign up for an event to attend with my friend, but I couldn't use my screen reader on their website because it was not picking up the text on the page. It was frustrating. It took me so much longer for me to sign up for the event than it needed to. These are stories of inaccessibility. These are stories of how it impacts so many areas of different people's lives. These are only a small amount of stories. There are many stories like this. There are more than 1 billion people in the world with different types of disabilities. What's next? Let's go deeper. Let's think about each story where someone has been left out due to inaccessibility. Let's think about the impact that it had on not one area, but many areas of their life. Let's think human-centered as we're building out the metaverse. User diversity, including people with disabilities. Let's think building together, embedding accessibility. When everyone is included, everyone wins. And there's a picture, an illustration of a headshot of me. Let's take flight. Let's add value to the metaverse by ensuring that no one is left out, accessibility is embedded, a metaverse for all.